This is Eric Mwathe with Mwathe.com. Now I've decided to give you a second introduction to the swedge breakout cheat code because I don't feel I did a good job on the very first video. So I'm going to make a short one just to try and make sure I get the point across for what I'm talking about. Now again, we have this a chart formation. We are assuming it's a 1-year chart, and this is on your screen is what I'm calling a wedge formation on the RSI. Now we can assume that the RSI is something like a significant high. RSI has been trading back and forth, maybe something like that. And then somewhere around here we have that formation, and then something like that. And finally we get the breakout right here. Okay. Now this is the buy point right here. We know that. This is the best buy point. It's moving out of this long wedge formation. It's not a brief wedge. It's a long, steady wedge where the bulls have had a lot and the bears have had a lot of time to consolidate, to fight over who should take over, and at some point the bulls, we're assuming, win the fight. So that's the ideal buy point. Now this was the RSI lows line, is confirmed here and then reconfirmed here. Now that's enough, but in this particular example I put all these lows here just to emphasize the point that the swedge breakout cheat code is when you take that intermediate RSI high, draw us a wedge. So this becomes your wedge right here, and this is your entry point. So that's the cheat code. So instead of buying it here, you bought the stock here. And as we've discussed, this is not your best buy point, but it's really just me trying to explain to you that sometimes it does give you an early price entry point, but the ultimate entry point is here. Now in some subsequent video I'm going to talk about what I call the double top right there, or the double bottom, RSI bottom, because those are very important turnaround indicators. For now, that's just me introducing a future video. Okay, let's look at one example, and it's the Swiss franc. This is I say a 2-year weekly chart, but it's not. It's a 1, 2, 3. I think it's a 4-year weekly chart for the Swiss franc. What we're going to be talking about is, I'm going to throw you off a little bit and look at the RSI swedge breakout cheat code on the flip side, which is on the selling side. So we have these red lines excuse me, which form the big wedge, and we know based on this low here and this RSI low here that if we break this red line, then that's a sell signal. Alright, that's a given because we have this big wedge that is hitting this RSI top lines, and we have, so when this is broken, that's obviously a sell signal. And this instance, it really was a sell signal right here around 98. Okay, but the way you can cheat is because this RSI top lines, as is confirmed, is you hit a high there, you come around, you don't go back to this line, so you hit that, you don't hit this line, the RSI lows line, you go back and confirm that RSI top line. Now the way you can cheat is you take this intermediate low, draw a line hitting that intermediate high, and that becomes your cheat code exit point. So instead of waiting for this ultimate exit point, you can cheat, just like I've discussed, by drawing on the flip side, on the sell side, you draw this line right here, and that gives you an exit point. And in this particular example, it was perfect. I mean, I don't know how it gets better than this. You got out of the stock around the $99 area when the stock was consolidating, and that change in psychology before the price move, that was way before the price move right here. The stock was still trading in this zone, but the psychology of the stock had dropped. So you get out way before anybody even has an idea of what's going on. So that's how you use the RSI swedge breakout cheat code on the sell side. Now let's go look at a regular swedge breakout quickly. You have a wedge formation right there. This wedge breaking out of there and above 50 for the first time in almost 1 year. So that's a significant shift in psychology. That did not yield a big move in the French franc, but moved it from around 77 all the way to 82 for a small move. You never lost money at any rate. The next buy point was when it moved out of this big wedge right here and here. Again, it's breaking out of this RSI top lines. It's already above 50. Buy point right there. You buy the the Swiss franc around 83.5, and in the next 6 months or so, actually in the next year and a half, wait a minute, within a year, let me just say that, it moves all the way to $100. So, and that was a straight shot if you use a weekly chart. Obviously on the daily, you have a lot of fluctuation, but we are looking at a weekly chart, so that was a great move. One thing I wanted to touch on is the RSI really does help you tell when psychology changes. Now observe this red dotted line and this ultimate sell signal in this chart. When this RSI is broken, for one, it's moving below 50 for the first time in more than a year. This break below 50 and also the break below this RSI lows line was really a sell signal for the Swiss franc. And notice this break came when the stock was still trading way above here, and therefore what it was predicting, that this channel that had been held was gonna break, and the break came about a month later. So the RSI is really a leading indicator of sentiment, and that's why I want us to perfect how to take advantage of sentiment, and especially when sentiment changes from a consolidating period to where it either flips to the buy point, or when the bulls take over, or to the sell side when bears take over. This is Eric Muade. Peace and blessings to you. I gotta love this. It's the best, baby. Yeah.